Dum, 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 dum,
Space between, space between, space between. Space between.
What's going on? It's the Space Between podcast where we talk about the space between life and art, passion and business, what's happening now, and what's happening next. I'm Pat Shand.
And I am Amy Shand.
And we're alone!
It's just us.
Just us. There's no Shannon and there's no Ryan.
It's late.
It is late. They're asleep, do you think?
They could be
Snoozing in
sleeping.
bed, tucked
I don't know.
in.
Shannon could be working still. I don't know what time that store closes.
I don't know. But today, we decided to just do it as a romantic couple, a married couple.
Yep. So romantic.
So romantic. Because,
You know what? Today was kind of romantic because I woke up. I woke up really early, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And I was going to babysit, but one of the kids that I am babysitting is actually sick right now.
Fuck
so
yes.
As soon as I woke up to a text message that was like, see you on Wednesday. We'll still pay you for the day, but he's sick, so we can't do whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. So I went back to bed with my own husband. And I was able to sleep in before my other job. So that was awesome.
And you know what? I just want to say, when I say fuck yes, I'm totally kidding. I hope this kid feels better.
Me too. But
And
it was nice to sleep in.
Totally. And I think that the fact that they're paying you still, even though you weren't there, I mean, one, it's the right thing to do.
That was nice, huh?
But like, two, I don't think that people generally do the right thing,
Yeah,
as a rule. So, yeah,
That was pretty nice. So
Pretty
that
nice.
was sweet this morning.
definitely.
And then I worked, and now we're here, and we're going to answer some questions.
And hey, we often talk about fast food on this podcast.
Oh, yeah,
We just ate Wendy's.
we had Wendy's for dinner.
And I have a motherfucking bone to pick with Wendy's.
Oh, yeah, they totally changed their cookies.
Yeah, they have,
Well, I had a theory, but I don't think it makes sense.
well, it would if
Anymore.
I hadn't worked at fast food before.
Right.
And, all right, so just to say what happened in our lives, we got the goddamn sugar cookies,
We
right?
always do when we go there because they're so good.
So good. I think it's either one or two for $1. And they're called jumbo, which they
Wait,
were jumbo.
Are they always called jumbo?
I think so, yeah.
Or did you just accidentally order the jumbo ones?
I've never in my life until this moment said the word jumbo. They just advertised it as jumbo.
You didn't say 2 jumbo cookies?
Never in my life.
Okay.
And the reason that Amy's asking that is because normally
Like I said,
they come as these flat gigantic circle cookie, right? Mm-hmm. This time they were like these thick pucks.
yeah, it was like a doughy cake.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. It was like a cake. Yeah, man. It was
It still had like the sugar cookie flavor, but it was like too much.
yeah, because normally like these cookies that we get from Wendy's, what I like about them is how they're crispy around the edges and then soft in the center. These were just like thick, cakey throughout.
Yeah, and quickly, my theory was maybe they have a new person that doesn't know how to make it and like just grabbed big handfuls and just like cooked them fat. But then you're saying, no, they come prepackaged, which makes sense because so do the cookies at Starbucks.
Yeah, they have to because, I mean, I worked at McDonald's. We had cookies there. I was there for 40 years. I still say
40
we.
years?
40 years. I'm deep in the McDonald's game.
No, 4 years.
4 years. So normally those motherfuckers come, they're just like standard frozen. You just bake
You
them.
just cook them.
Yeah, but so, and plus like the texture on top of these cookies, I highly doubt someone at Wendy's is plopping down on these bitches.
Right.
To me, they changed them up or they ran out. Or I don't know.
Something happened.
And we're fucking pissed about it.
We got to try it again like in a week. Give them some time to get their shit together.
Imagine we called.
And see. I literally imagined that when we were sitting eating. I
my
imagined
God.
us calling on the phone and being like, excuse me, do you have somebody new or is there something going on with your cookie situation?
We become that couple. Yes,
Yeah.
hello, Wendy's. What
Hello,
is
police.
wrong with your goddamn sugar cookies? Imagine.
They're good though.
They are good.
Or they were.
I mean, if I called, I'll probably say something like, listen, spicy chicken sandwich, on point always. It's a banger in this game, you know?
I do like it.
But the sugar cookies, I'll know if you're fucking around with us, but the second we find a fast food cookie that we
Sick
fuck
joke.
with, you turn it into some cake,
Yeah.
some hockey puck shaped cake.
Because usually, like, I'm trying to think of desserts at other fast food places. Like, do other places have cookies?
Yeah.
Like, the other day I got that Hershey's pie thing from Burger King.
Yeah, they have the cookie pies.
It wasn't cold enough. I'll tell you that much.
they they have that pie. They have the Snickers pie.
That one's good. And I saw the Oreo cheesecake one.
Mm-hmm. And they used to have the Reese's pie. And those are all, you know, good,
I'm
solid
probably
items.
like slurping tea into the microphone because it's really hot. But it's good. So sorry.
But yeah, like McDonald's has cookies, but this was Wendy's like big snack cookie.
Mm-hmm.
So if they changed it already, y'all some fucking cowards.
Yeah.
But all right, today we're gonna just pretty much do some answering questions. Normally we save questions for the end of the episodes, but we've gotten a few build up about certain topics that we wanted to dive in and sort of tease you guys about upcoming topics, because we will have a full episode dedicated to our cats, and that's going to tie into the release of the episode of the Percast that Amy and I guested on.
Yeah, and that's coming out in a couple of weeks, I
Yes.
want to say. And so, along with that, there's going to be like, it's sort of like you listen to the Percast episode and you want to hear more about our cats, then we're just going to have way too much more on the other episode
Absolutely. And we
about them.
And we do have cat questions today that we're going to answer.
Which is cool.
And we have questions about Clonsters. And Clonsters is a book that Amy created that she and I wrote together. It is now, as of today, available on Amazon. So if you want to get Clonsters on Amazon, I'll have the link everywhere on Space Between's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Check it out. But we're going to be doing a full episode dedicated to Clonsters. But first, we're going to answer some questions about it. So let's start with some Clonsters questions. And this is a long one. Zach O'Connor, who is a gigantic supporter. Zach, shout out to you.
Love him.
Zach is great. Zach writes, even though I just started reading books, Clonsters first, then Destiny New York Volume 1, and the short stories, they really caught my attention, and I felt like I fell into the story in a good way. I get bored easy. Other books
Same.
I tried to read, I put down after a couple of pages, but not these. Thank you, Zach. Did you ever think of animating these comics? I could see Clonsters on some TV station for kids and Destiny on Adult Swim or something like that. So some of the stories you wrote, I actually lived some of those moments. It's pretty surreal. And also, how do you come up with these stories? You can go from happy to evil in the drop of a pen. That's true. I get headaches just thinking about it. You're awesome writers. Definitely got my attention. Can't wait to read your future stories. I'm hooked.
Aw, thank you.
So, Amy, about Clonsters, have you thought about a possible animation there?
Yeah, I mean, it's got a really fun, adventurous feel to it, and I love the colors. So I think it would be really translatable onto the TV screen. And that being said, when I babysit, I watch a lot of SpongeBob, and that takes place underwater, as I'm sure every single body knows. And it kind of reminds me of that, as well as like Adventure Time and things like that. And so when I see those TV shows, I think, oh, that could totally be Clonsters.
Are you going to lie to the people and tell them that you only watch SpongeBob when babysitting?
That's all I do. I mean, just kidding, no. No, but when they eat breakfast and stuff, because like the time they wake up is the time SpongeBob is on, and that's what they like to watch. So we end up watching a lot of SpongeBob.
It's true, but just
I can't believe they're still making new SpongeBob episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
Just to frame your experience with SpongeBob in a more accurate way.
Oh,
okay?
that's right. I'm also obsessed with SpongeBob for eternity. There's that.
Before Amy even met these kids, right? She would compare things that happened to us and to her, like that episode of SpongeBob.
Like
just
remember that?
consistently.
Just the other day at work, I referred to SpongeBob to my coworkers.
How? Tell a story.
Well,
If you can.
it's a little offensive, but I won't use words.
Okay.
It was like, because we have a lot of new people at work.
I'll bleep
so-
you if it's offensive.
No, it's not offensive. It's just like, it's funny because we have a lot of new people at work.
Okay.
And there's so much to learn. And so somebody was trying to explain to a new person something really simple as far as like how to do something. And watching them try to explain it over and over again reminded me of a scene from SpongeBob
What scene?
where SpongeBob and Patrick are at the Krusty Krab and SpongeBob is trying to teach Patrick how to do things, and he has this jar, and he's like, put your hand on the lid, and for like at least a minute and a half, Patrick just puts his hand every place but the lid, and SpongeBob, like the side of the jar, the counter, the spatula, and SpongeBob just keeps going, the lid, the lid. The lid. The lid.
Oh my god.
And like, that's what it was like. It was just like, the whipped cream. The whipped cream. The whipped cream. It's just like, dude. SpongeBob.
You are a nerd. I love it.
So.
As far as a Destiny New York series, I mean, it would be cool to have it animated. If it was optioned, I wouldn't say no, but I would prefer a live action
That's
show.
exactly what I was going to say. It would be awesome to see with live actors.
Definitely.
And yeah.
Because while Destiny New York does have, it has fantasy elements, my rule of thumb for that series is even though it is a fantasy, we do 90 to 95% realism and 5 to 10% fantasy.
Imagine like, you know that show The Magicians?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, supernatural in it, but it's
I'd
also
say even
real.
much less magic, though.
Yeah, but that's how you would kind of like do the magic.
Right,
you know?
right. And to answer Zach's last question, how do you come up with these stories? Personally, I'm always thinking about story, and I frame things that have happened to me in story. I answer questions in my life with story, and I just let my mind wander. And I mean, this is how I've always been. You know, I grew up coming up with stories and framing my life and framing my ideas in narrative.
Yeah, I
Crazy.
feel like you've always been really creative, and luckily you've had parents that have nurtured that. So that's been really nice too.
And how about you?
But I don't know, but that doesn't have to do with how you come up with them. They just come out of your brain.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to track. But I remember I'll tell the full story about my experience with you and Clonsters on the Clonsters podcast episode. But just to tease that out a little bit, I remember Amy invented Clonsters first as clay creations before it was ever a graphic novel. And we were at a convention. It was a very slow convention, just dead. And Amy was telling stories about the creatures that she created. And as she was describing them, I was like, this could be a story. And Amy said, oh, I don't know what story it would be. And I'm like, you are literally telling me the story as we speak.
Yeah, that's the... I think that I'm better with like origin stories and like little tidbits and scenes, and then you help me a lot with turning it into like a plot and organizing it, because like the hard part for me, I would say, because I have trouble just like Zach, like I get bored so easily, so it's hard for me to focus long enough to like make a linear story. But all day things will be like, oh, well, what if this or what if this? Like even with the new story we're writing now,
Prison Witch.
yeah, now that we can say it,
Yes.
with Prison Witch, like there's scenes where like I don't even know where they're gonna fit into the plot line, but I trust that you're gonna fit them in. But those are like just ideas that I had, and those are stories within themselves.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to explain, but like there's different ways that you can, you know, think of stories.
Right. And we have a very specific writing process in each book that we do together. Like with Clonsters, that was pretty much a conversation that Amy and I had, where we spoke about the entire book, laid it out together, then I laid the script out, and then Amy went over what I had written, changed things, added things, and then we just kept doing that through letters. With Amy's story, her short story in Destiny New York, she just typed that whole thing out, and then I I put some panel ideas into there just
And
to
that's
break
more
it
my
down.
jam, is the short story thing.
Yeah. And with your Cramps story for the Mayan anthology was the same way. You just wrote that all on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And now with Prison Witch, since it's more of a collaborative thing again, the way that we're doing that as co-writers is very different from how we did Clonsters and how Amy did her short stories and how I normally do my stories. So we'll definitely get into that next time. Lynn Santos writes, would you even consider turning... Oh, actually, hey.
Oh yeah, that's what Zach
This is
said
popular.
too
This is
about the
popular,
animated.
yeah.
That'd be so fun, yo. I'd be really excited if anyone, like she says, if so, who would you love to work with? As far as like, what's it called? TV networks?
TV networks, and I mean, it's just basically Zach's question too about the cartoon.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and what creators, what networks, and personally, I like the creators behind Adventure Time, and one of the writers from Adventure Time, Rebecca Sugar, went on to create Steven Universe, and that is pretty cool too. So I like them.
I'm not quite sure because I don't watch enough TV to know. We don't have cable.
Amy's like the SpongeBob creators.
Right, those ones.
I mean, honestly though, if it could be anyone, I would say us, right? Like,
Oh yeah, because with Clonsters, it's so personal because they're like my little toys that I'm sure it wouldn't be a huge deal and I'd want to work with anybody, but it would be a bummer if any of them changed or anything like that,
Right.
you know? So, but yeah.
yeah, because there are certain stories that I've told, that we've told where, you know, if it gets optioned and made it into something, I'd be able to divorce our story from what they do. With personal stories like Clonsters and Destiny New York, we would work with someone, but my ideal there, and I think Amy's too, would be to be involved, you know? I mean, like, we could be the showrunners. We have a great sense of what it takes to run a TV show. I was writing screenplays before I ever even wrote comics. We could definitely do it. So it would be awesome to work with anyone, but ideally us. And our final Clonsters question. Jim Colombo writes, does Amy have a website for her Clonsters? We visited the webpage on Kickstarter. They are outrageous. We love seeing them and the new comic. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. I have an Etsy page for my Clonsters. That, you know what, I started and I'm not really good at keeping up with the Etsy page, but I have been making commissions through Kickstarter, and I would say that the best way to do that, how would the best way to get one now, to contact Space Between?
I mean, right now, I'd say right now the best way to get a Clonster, when we have a Kickstarter up, you could do through there, but you can also just go to Amy's Etsy shop. You know, just because we aren't active doesn't mean that Amy doesn't actually follow through on the orders. You know, as soon as an order comes in, she does make it.
Yeah, you can always contact me through there, send me a message, or email Space Between.
And now that the Clonster Kickstarter is done, you're probably going to be more active in your shop, because Amy doesn't just make clay. She writes, she sings, and she crochets now.
I just get really into these little hobbies, but yeah, I'm definitely a writer and a singer, and I recently began crocheting because I'm like newly addicted to it. It's mad fun. But yeah, if I know that someone specifically is interested in purchasing a Clonster, I definitely do want to take the time to get that out to you. So definitely email us and we will get back to you about that. Like, even I know that Zach has some ideas. He wants to grow his Clonster collection, so I'll be working on those as well. And I'm going to try and build a bit of a routine around the Clonster making so I can do it more.
Yes, and Amy's shop is www.etsy.com/shop/Clonsters. That is CLONSTERS, Clay Monsters. All right, so as our cat Neil is climbing onto Amy's lap,
He's really
he's forcing
trying to make himself.
He's really forcing himself.
Yeah,
here.
because my legs are like up, but he's just not having it. He's like, give me room now.
Let's cover some cat questions. John Rossetti writes, I have 2 cats in a small NYC apartment. They are a handful and demand constant attention.
Oh, wow.
I can barely work without one getting on my lap. Well, hey,
Definitely.
that's happening right now to us. John continues, we always daydream of taking home another from local adoption events, though. How in the world do you handle 5?
I know.
You know what? It's easy and difficult. There are certain things, like right now, feeding them has gotten to be more of an issue because a few of them have to be separated because they have different foods.
Right.
And we have to pay more attention to the litter box to make sure that our place smells okay.
Every single day, if not twice a day. Because
Absolutely.
we live in an apartment too, so we definitely know how that is. And the cats demanding attention and everything. Oh, absolutely. Before we started the podcast, we were trying to wait a second because one of our cats was like making a bunch of noise on the top of the couch where we were sitting. And we're just like, okay, well, wait till you're done then. They basically own us. But they're our life too, so that's the easy part.
And they also, 2 cats would do this too, but 5 cats entertain one another very well.
Oh, yeah, they play with each other. Like, if one of them gets bored with the kitten, she'll just move on to the next boy. She'll be like, all right, how about you?
And I feel like the way that we introduce the cats, too, as a big part in creating this piece, because our latest cat, Chi-Chi, we introduced her very slowly.
Yeah.
Mostly because she was...
Tiny.
Yeah, we didn't adopt her at a place. She was found on the street. And she was way too young to adopt. So we had to keep her isolated for a much longer time. So, yeah.
I think she was like 3 or 4 weeks old.
Yeah, so small. It's... I don't think it's hard to handle the 5.
No, it would be impossible at this point to get another one because that's definitely our limit. You know, they are a lot. But I would say, how in the world do we handle 5? Main tips is keeping up on the litter box and just making sure that they're getting along.
And you know what? This is going to sound crazy, but 5 isn't much harder than 2. 2 is hard, you know? I remember I was in a small studio, a little box. Neil's going to be really loud in the podcast. He's sucking on his leg right now.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's looking.
He's going to be upset when you stop him, though.
Oh, my God. He's 27 pounds.
At least.
So, when I had just Wesley and Odo and a small studio with a wooden floor, Odo would run circles around my bed at night, and that would drive me fucking insane. So, you know...
sometimes they wreck our sleep schedule.
Yeah, but I don't think 5 is much harder than 2. And I know it sounds crazy, but once you get more... Some of the more hyperactive problems are lowered because they handle one another. In fact, when some of our younger cats are acting a fool and trying to make a lot of noise at night, our oldest cat, Wesley, will go over and just bully them a little bit. Shut the
be
fuck
quiet.
up.
That's enough, he says.
So yeah, I think that if you can handle 2, my belief is that you can handle 5. But as one of my favorite YouTube channels, the Hodge Twin says, this advice is professional, but it is unlicensed. All right, so Joanna Finfer writes.
I thought you were going to say, do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Oh yeah, do whatever the fuck you want to do. True, that too. Joanna Finfer writes, beside the typical boxes and balls, what are your favorite cat toys?
I know that Hoyt has a favorite toy. Our cats have favorite toys.
Our cat Hoyt, his favorite toy is this little yellow baby.
Yep, with the little rope legs.
It's like a little stuffed animal.
It's like the size of the palm of your hand.
Yes.
And it's like a nasty, bright yellow color.
Nasty, you said?
Kind of, because it's like a mustardy yellow.
That's kind of disrespectful to Hoyt.
Sorry. It's like a It's like a pastel yellow. Okay.
It's like standard crayon
It's cute.
yellow.
It
yeah.
just looks like, I don't even know what it is. What is it?
I don't
What
know.
was it
It
when
was
we got
something,
it?
but Hoyt has always been, his favorites have always been stuffed animals.
I know. It's because he's such a lover.
Yeah, he's a little sweet boy.
He just wants to care for something.
Largely, what our cats, the two kind of toys that our cats actively play with are sticks with the thing hanging off, right?
Yeah, like we like to get the stick with the long, either like some sort of string or yarn at the end of it with like a tassel.
Yes.
Or like maybe a bell or a feather at the end, but they always ruin the feather in like 1.5 days.
That's true. That's true.
Recently we got one that's like, it's pretty sturdy actually. That's why I like it. There was a feather on the end, not anymore, but the rest is pretty long. It's the stick that you hold, and then it's like a long, like felt almost, like a rainbow snake thing.
And I like those things so much because it satisfies the cat's desire to play with string, but it has something on the end that they focus on so that they don't ingest the string.
Right.
Because what a cat wants to do is take a string and put it in their mouth until it's inside of them. And
For whatever reason, that's their goal.
And cats have a reflex that when they begin to swallow something, they can't stop. So when a cat swallows
won't, like,
the
gag
end
it
of a
out?
string, they will not gag it out. So that's why I like these, because it satisfies that string need. And because there's a thing on the end, they will not try to swallow that.
It's good for exercise too. Plus,
Absolutely.
I don't know if this counts as a toy, but Pat once got me a really awesome cat tree as a gift, and we still have it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We took it from California to New York, and they love that thing. Dude, last night, Chi-Chi on this freaking cat tree was like hanging upside
God.
down. I can't even describe it. She was
It was so
hanging on the
funny.
middle level of it, and she kept going upside down in like this weird position we thought she couldn't get up out of because her head was like bent back in like some like exorcist way.
She was really
And then
hanging,
she
yeah.
was staring at me from under it, like upside down, her eyes just shining, staring at me like a psycho.
And she would keep going up and going back down, up and back down.
She
And
like go somewhere else. She would climb up to the next level. She would like bat at Hoyt's tail, and then all of a sudden she would get back on the middle level, and then just boop, back upside down.
We were crying.
We had to pause our fucking TV show because we were laughing so hard. So they get a kick out of the cat tree.
So good.
Yeah.
So
Well,
good.
Chi-Chi literally gets a kick out of everything. She's like 5 months old now.
And no, yeah, so good. So good.
So fucking cute.
One more toy that we play with the cats is we have 2 circles. It's like a plastic
yeah.
circle, and inside is a ball. And if you flick the ball, it'll just go around in the circle, and they'll play.
And they can't get it out.
They love that toy. All right.
We have a big one and a small one, and one time we jacked the big one from Chi-Chi, put it in the other room, and like 3 seconds later we heard the same noise. She found the small one.
Oh my God, yes.
She's such a... Oh God. I love we love our cats. It's like
They're our children.
So stupid how we love them.
It's not stupid at all.
I know, but it's like, like I love you so much, it's stupid.
Oh yeah,
like that.
For sure. We missed them so much when we were gone.
Yo, it was so nice to come back. I was texting you about how nice it was to come back to them.
Oh yeah. You crying right now?
Well, my eyes are dry and I'm also crying.
Amy
But
loves
I'm
these
crying
cats.
because I was laughing so hard.
Oh,
Essentially.
okay, gotcha. All right. Jackie Santee writes, ooh, this is a tough one. What do you do when your cats don't get along? I have 2 9-month-old kittens that I was initially intending to just foster. My husband found them abandoned in a customer's yard when they were about a week old.
Ooh, that's even younger than Chihuahua.
It is. At this point, we've bottle fed them, wiped their little butts,
Aww.
read up on fostering baby cats if you want
Oh,
to know.
I
why
know,
it's
girl, I
necessary.
know.
Oh, for sure. And invested thousands in shots, vaccinations. Oh, we know they struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And neutering and spaying. As such, we've grown attached, of course, and are now keeping them as our own. Yep.
Boom.
Amy and I could never foster.
Exactly, and that's exactly why.
That's the problem, All right, so Jackie continues. The issue is my 14-year-old cat freaking hates the male kitten.
Only the male one?
He hisses at him and swats at him. It sucks. And the kitten literally goes out of his way to be sweet and acts very submissive to old man kitty. We're not sure what to do. I love some insight into this. I love all my kitties. I just want them to coexist harmoniously.
I wonder how long she's had the kittens, because because she's had them since they were a week.
Yeah.
That is a little bit of a longer time, because I was going to say when we bring new cats home, like we do have one cat, Odo, who's a little bit more hesitant and he'll hiss and stuff like that, but only for the first few weeks?
Yeah. Just to be 100% upfront, Amy and I have been lucky as far as introducing new cats has gone. We've been in situations where it has just worked out for the best. So I don't really feel qualified to give the advice here, which leads me to this. There are a bunch of things about cats that we don't know. And what we do is we do so much research.
Totally.
And even asking professionals, right? I'm sure, Jackie, that you've asked vets, spoken to people. What we've found is that even for the most basic issues, vets will say opposite things. There's no 100% real way as far as cat behavior goes. I think that your best bet is to do as much research as you can. Watch videos all the way from vet videos to Jackson Galaxy videos, and just try to take in as much information as possible. Try different things. We've had a problem about a year or so ago with Neil's behavior, because Neil had started screaming his head off in the middle of the night through the morning for food. He became a food addict, and he would just scream. And all the advice that we got was not helping until we slowly worked toward one specific plan, as far as just making him calm down and making him adjust to the fact that we don't respond to him in that way. And that advice helped, and it was a long-term thing. So what I would say is that first, make sure that the cats are safe. If it's a thing where your kitten and your old man cat aren't safe together, that might be a bigger issue. But if they're just not comfortable together, that I feel that you can work on slowly and just try to investigate different ways to handle that. Because I like to think that any cat can live with any cat, but that I don't know that, because I love my cats, but I'm not an expert as far as that angle of cats goes.
Yeah, unfortunately, because we haven't had experience with that.
But
with your last clan of cats that Wesley and Oda were a part of, didn't you say that some of them didn't get along?
Well, there was one cat. She was just very persnickety. And if any cat cuddled up to her for too long, or if a human approached her, she would scratch. But I wouldn't compare it to this. Okay. She was very aggressive with new cats, but it didn't last this long. So I don't have any experience here, but I would say that I think it's going to be all okay for you if you do a full investigation of what to do. And I just wish you the best. I wish you and your cats the best.
Same.
All right. So we have some general questions now. Some writing questions. All right. Katie Tui writes, what is the first step to properly get into screenwriting, script writing, any writing? An agent? Going from door to door like you're selling Girl Scout cookies? Inquiring minds would like to know. All right. So this is difficult because there are so many different ways to break in. What I would do if I was trying to make a career off of primarily screenwriting is move to Los Angeles. You know, that's where it's popping off. That is much more of a networking thing where you move to Los Angeles, try to get jobs on TV shows, and then just network, build yourself up, have spec scripts. For those listening who don't know what a spec script is, that is a script that you've written that is an episode of a popular show right now. So if I were going to write a spec script for, say, Riverdale, I would have that. It would be a general episode that takes place during the show, and I would shop that around not to Riverdale but to other similar shows. And that is a common way to break into the screenwriting industry. Getting an agent is great, but also that is a goal. That's not a step one. Getting an agent is a big goal. I'm still trying to do that for my novels, and it's very difficult. But it's a great step. Getting an agent is a terrific step because that removes so many steps for you because now that agent does that. And as far as comics, I've talked about this before, but the best thing that you can do is make your own comics. Create your own samples, pay an artist to draw a script that you've written, and then show that final product drawn, colored, lettered, perfected to publishers. Because a publisher is not going to read a Word document. It's just not going to happen. Whereas a TV show, that's what they have. But in comics, getting an actual comic book done as a sample shows so much initiative. That'll remove you from at least 80% of the competition. All right, so last question of today. Matt Rossetti writes, was it the writing that attracted you to comics at a young age? Did you ever try to draw too as a child? And the truth is there that I didn't love comics when I was young. I read a few, but I was never a comics guy as a kid. It happened as an adult, and there it was absolutely always the writing. I fell in love with artists at a later date, and that was primarily when I found an artist that was both the writer and the artist. Like Amy, do you remember Blankets by Craig Thompson?
Do I ever?
So good. That was the first time I saw a writer / artist doing something as a single unit that I couldn't imagine the writer and artist being two different creators. You know?
Yeah. Totally. Then there's Strangers in Paradise.
Oh my God, so good. Terry Moore.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then he recently came out with a new Strangers in Paradise.
Yes, for the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
So good.
Yep.
All right. So, did I ever try to draw? You know what? I drew some Dragon Ball Z stuff. I drew my own comics based on like manga stuff as a teenager, but they were never good. I never thought I was like good enough to be published or anything. I never saw that as a career. But I know that you've drawn a little bit too, Amy.
I like to draw. When I journal, I draw and doodle pictures and stuff to like express what's going on in my head because sometimes it works better than words. But I've never actually like drawn a work of art that I've like framed or anything like that.
I mean, I wish I could draw.
I wish I could draw way better. My brother is actually really good at drawing, Jeremy.
I'm looking at the wall. I see a framed piece of art that you drew for me.
Oh, shit. I made you that as a gift.
It's true.
But what I did with that was I can't really take full credit for it because that was a real picture. And just the big lines, like the shape of the ladies, I traced and then I colored it myself.
And just so you guys can know, it is a drawing of Willow and Tara from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the musical episode.
Yeah, and then there's the lyrics because I have way better handwriting than I can draw.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But no, you know.
That's true. I did make that.
You did, and it's good.
Yeah. I'm not going to describe it anymore.
I wish I could draw. It would make some of my life easier and harder. I would love to draw my own stuff as far as writing goes. But
because you wouldn't have to do it all the time. You
Exactly.
can collaborate and draw.
But I can't draw. And I'm not tripping on it. You know, my passion is writing.
And some people, you know, they can't write and they're amazing artists as far as that goes.
Absolutely. And you know what? As far as questions goes, that is it. I think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you guys for your questions and for your compliments this time around. That was super, super nice.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been the Space Between Podcast. You can follow us at Space Between Ent on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you want to have your questions answered, we do it every episode. You can hit us up there or email us at spacebetweenent@gmail.com. So again, thank you for listening. And bye, you guys.